Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this lesson I want to consider the states of the granddaughter. And the granddaughter is actually one of the more difficult of the Zawil Furud to remember, but if you remember some of the basic rules you should be able to grasp this without too much difficulty. So the granddaughter actually has a total of 6 states. If we go through them one by one, and we can illustrate them as we go along. So the first one is that the granddaughter gets a half, and the condition for this is that is one alone. There's one granddaughter alone, and we'll come on to what this means and the meaning of granddaughter shortly. The second state is that the granddaughters share 2/3, and this is when there are 2 or more. And if you've watched the video on the daughters, this will seem very familiar. This is exactly the same for the daughters. They also have a half if there's one alone, or they share 2/3 if there's 2 or more. The third state is that they get a sixth, and this is where there is one daughter. And if we have a look at I'll do one more and then we'll have a look at these in a bit more detail. Fourth state is where the granddaughter is deprived of anything, and this is where there are 2 or more daughters. So if you have a look at these 4 cases first, and then we can come back to the other 2 in the next video. So as I stated in the video on daughters, there's a hadith of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that the women should get 2/3 as a maximum, and there's a rule which states that if there's one daughter or granddaughter, and this also applies for sisters and paternal sisters, fallen paternal sisters, then they will get a half. However, if there's 2 or more, they get 2/3. Now this is between all of them, so this is between daughters and granddaughters, and daughters take precedence over granddaughters, which means that if there's 2 or more daughters, then the 2/3 is used up, and the granddaughters who come second in line, they actually get nothing. However, if there's only one daughter, we learned that, so if there's one daughter, we learned that she gets a half, and if you know your maths, you'll know that half plus a sixth is equal to 2/3. The proof for that is if we take it all from 6 parts, the lowest common denominator between a half and a sixth is 6, so that's 1/6, and a half is 3/6, which is equal to 4/6, and that can be boiled down to 2/3. So if one daughter is to take a half, then that leaves a sixth for the granddaughter, and so the granddaughter takes a sixth of the remainder, which is what's left. Now, if there's one, and if there's more than one granddaughter, it doesn't have to just be one. There could be more than one granddaughter. So there could be 2 granddaughters, and they would share a sixth. The one daughter would get a half, and the 2 granddaughters would share a sixth. So this is what happens if there is one daughter. However, if there's 2 or more daughters, so 2 or more daughters, we learned from the previous lesson on daughters that they receive 2/3, and as they've completed the 2/3 that are allotted to the daughters or to the women, then um, there's nothing left over for granddaughters, so the granddaughters are deprived. Granddaughters granddaughters get nothing, essentially zero. Um, that's these two situations. So that's where there's one daughter or two or more daughters. If we take a situation where there are no daughters, so in A and B there aren't any daughters, and you can see that if there's only one granddaughter alone, she'll get half, and if there's two or more, they'll share 2/3, and this is the same rule as we saw for daughters. So essentially, we have the top is where there are no daughters. There are no daughters, and the bottom is where there are daughters. And in the top case, they'll share a half. One granddaughter will get a half. Two or more will share 2/3, and in the bottom case, one granddaughter will share a sixth, and if there's two or more, they'll share a sixth. However, if there's more than one daughter, then they won't get anything at all.